Okay. I'm going to start with a question that's a little bit infuriating. I don't know if you ever heard me ask one of those.
This will give an introduction.
Yeah. I have two homes. I have one in Yerushalayim, and I have one in Arvei Pesachim. How many mitzvahs Bedikas Chometz do I have? Two. Okay. One. Two. Nothing like stereo. Okay? Now, so I'm going to ask you a question. I have, in Arvei Pesachim, I have, 3 rooms, 4 rooms in my apartment. How many mitzvahs Bedikas Chometz do I have?
What difference does it make how many rooms you have?
What difference does it make how many houses I have?
Because unless, of course, the house is next to each other and it's right there, but one is one place, one is the other. It's two separate.
I want you to know, every balat is in a different place.
You're going to say the brocho twice. Once in this house.
Did I say about brochos? Did I say about brochos?
The bedika.
I asked, how many mitzvahs bedika do I have?
2.
So now, what makes it defined as one mitzvah? What makes it defined as 2? That's the question.
Probably ownership. You own.
I own both. That's it. I don't exactly own it, but I use both. They're both in my jurisdiction and responsibility to rid them of chametz.
Since it's not usually in Arvei Pesach, maybe there's less of a responsibility on there. For example, we have other solutions.
So I'm looking for solutions. I asked my wife. I'm not looking for solutions. I'm looking for problems.
When you're looking in the house in Beit Shemesh, you're going to do every single room until the end, because that's your dot, to do everything from the beginning to the end. And then when you're going to go to Jerusalem, that's going to be a different time, a different, and you're going to have Hesech Hadat any time. So that's a different bedika.
In Mitzvah Hashem, when Hashem grants me billions of dollars, perhaps I will own the whole building of 5 lachish, and I will have units that I give to people that come to me for Shabbos. How many brochos do I make? How many bedikas do I have?
Well, you're planning to do it all right now without Hesech Hadat.
So it depends on. That's what it depends on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start. Okay, Kodem Kof Lamed Beis. Kodem Sheyascha Livdok Yivorach Asher Kirishanu Mitzvos V'Tzivanu Al Bir Chometz. We already discussed last week the problem. Why is it called Bir Chometz if we're not doing any beer on the Chometz? Which brings us to the problem. Why do we say afterwards Kol Chamira if we're not making beer Chometz? And the answer, which we said last week, was that it's all part of one long mitzvah of getting rid of your Chometz. V'im hischa livdok b'loi bracha, yivarach kol zman shelo yisiyim bedikasai. Now, I would like to ask a question. There's a reason why I asked my first question. I put on my tefillin shel yad, and I forgot to make a bracha. I don't know how that happens, but I put on my tefillin shel yad and I forgot to make a bracha. And now I put on my tefillin shel rosh. So there's actually a machlekes. Do you have to make 2 brachos or 1 bracha on your tefillin shel rosh? But let's say I forgot to make a bracha, so I'm now going to put on my tefillin shel rosh. So I make a bracha la'niach tefillin. Besides the al mitzvahs tefillin, if I say 2 brachos, if I don't do whatever, I say la'niach tefillin. Now, is that just like I made a bracha before I put on my tefillin? You understand the question? B'diavad. Those words are difficult for me to understand. What does that word mean, b'diavad?
It's the opposite of lechachila. Lechachila is to break the blessing on tefillin shel yad. But I've forgot to do that.
No, so I'm making it now on the tefillin shel yad. I have in mind my tefillin shel yad.
No, but the tefillin shel rosh is put on after the tefillin shel yad. No.
That's true. But now when I make the bracha laniach tefillin, I have in mind my tefillin shel yad also.
It's not over the asiyos.
That's the question.
Or is it not over the asiyos?
I don't know. I'm not convinced. That's the question which we're discussing.
The asiyas mitzvah is not done if you make 2 brachas till you're done with your rosh.
I will quote, it ain't over till it's over. How do you know that? What? No, the fat lady thinks that you could know, but the ain't over till it's over, that comes from New York. Anyways, the bottom line. What is your problem?
It's 2 separate mitzvahs. It's Tefillin, so it's not Arvei Pesachim. So yeah, had we not said that. Arvei Pesachim and Tefillin shel yad, right?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
There's this thing called the tabernacle, right? We sit in the tabernacle. You go into the sukkah, right? And you make a brocho. 1 second. Do you make a brocho before you walk into the sukkah?
Pun intended. That's a yotzei of it. That's the
Perhaps.
Why are you making before Kiddush? Why you missed it?
Well, after all your whys, no one asked this question that I'm asking. They don't ask the questions, the precise question I'm asking. I don't think they ask. There are some mitzvahs that, as long as you made it while the mitzvah is happening, it's good enough for it to be called over l'asiyos. Doing it while is perhaps not being over on over l'asiyos. Perhaps this is a shach in Hilchos Shchita, Siman Yutes, that discusses this question. After a person performed the mitzvah, according to most poskim, you cannot make a bracha anymore. Perhaps Teich K'dei Dibur you can make a bracha, but it's over. While you're still in the middle of doing it, so there's 2 possibilities of what could be happening. Either you're making a bracha over l'asiyos on what you're going to do, or it's considered like you made it over l'asiyos because it's all one unit. Now let's see the halacha over here again. We'll
Just
see.
to make sure that I understand it, the bracha needs to be over the asiyos, and that's.
It could be you have a kiyum over l'asiyos.
But if I missed over the asiyos, I wouldn't be making a bracha.
According to some, yes. Okay. V'im hischil livdoi b'loi bracha, yevorach kol zman sheloi siyim bedikah. That's the part that you missed it. Didn't you miss it? A person picks up the lulav. The Gemara says, "Mida agbe nofik." You picked it up. It's finished. You're yaitza. The end. Can a person make a bracha while holding it still?
Not the brisker sheet, isn't it?
I have no idea. You tell me.
They held you should pick it up without the kavanah to be yotzei the mitzvah.
Did anybody speak about without kavanah to be yaitza? And nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I would like to ask you a question. You put on tefillin in the morning, and you keep those tefillin on till the end of davening. How many mitzvahs did you do? What?
A lot of tefillin.
A lot of tefillin. If I didn't make a bracha on my tefillin before I put them on, and I make a bracha while I'm still wearing them, is that okay?
Yes. You're yotzei.
You're yaitze what?
You're allowed to still make the bracha because you are still in the middle of doing the mitzvah.
Even though I was already yaitze.
Even though you already started.
No, I also finished.
You finished tying them on, but now that they're...
I put on my tefillin, I'm yaitze. After that, it's all extra credit. So I'm finished.
More of that mitzvah. I'm doing the same mitzvah of halachas tefillin.
It's the second time?
No, it's one more mitzvah.
So then I'm not finished. Decide. Do you understand the question I'm asking?
No, I'm missing it. Yeah.
The reason why you're missing it is because you've been conditioned by information that you have beforehand. Forget all the information. How long does the person have to wear the tefillin for in order to be Yaitza? 1 second. After that second, you already be Yaitza.
Check. Okay.
Check. So how can you make a brocha after check?
Getting more checks. Every time the second it's on your head, you're doing more halachas tefillin.
You're doing more halachas tefillin?
Yeah, like you're supposed to wear it all day or whatever.
So even if it's a new mitzvah.
No.
I don't know exactly how it word the next stitch, but it's more tefillin.
Because you wear Masech Taf.
And therefore?
It's the hemshech of the original mitzvah.
So, but it's
a bigger mitzvah.
It's a bigger
You're
mitzvah.
expanding it.
Meaning is my bracha going on
like
the
a
Baito, my
balloon.
bracha's also going
I'll just remind me in 7 months to discuss this at greater length. A person lit Hanukkah candles. Okay? And he forgot to make a bracha. Can he make a bracha while they're burning? Or do we say, Kofsa ain't zachaklo? It's over. Has nothing to do with it. No.
It's not kofsa, but
We hold hadlaka, so it's
kofsa, mitzvah.
what?
But it's not kofsa. It's the lighting.
And therefore?
It's not terminated.
And therefore?
Not doing halakha.
But you were yaitz already 100%?
But that, if not lucky, you're using something on it. Then, yeah. You're not being malik.
I can't argue with a Jew. I don't know.
You're not being malik anymore. You're not being
You could bring
malik.
a raya,
It's
the
not
fact of
halakha.
if you have Yal V'Yavo on Shacharis, and you finish saying the bracha Tov Shem Kol Avon Dos, you lost. You got to go back. You got to go back either to say, or you might have to even go back to the beginning.
Okay.
So that means it's
That's
completed.
not a- that's not a
It's
good
done.
raya.
It's lost to some extent.
What?
So therefore, then after you put on the tefillin, it's lost. That
Okay.
you're doing a mitzvah, but not
Okay.
with the bracha.
Let's see what we say over here. But at least we're up to a question. At least the people understand the difficulty that we're trying to understand. But the Ramah says of chiddush, perhaps it's a shaila.
The Nazir is in the cemetery for all day. How many latkes does he get?
Every zman shehiyah.
If he gets Hasra.
Every morning.
Every
It's a
Hasra.
warning. Every morning.
Every Hasra.
Every
he gets.
zman shehiyah.
You're gonna have to take it as a
Yeah.
He needs Al Tisha on each one.
I just had
Every
the fascinating question. Someone was going to Tel Shomer Hospital, a Kohen. He has to go for some serious medical reason, and he has a choice. He could go in the back door, and he has a much longer corridor to get to where he has to go, or he could go in the front door and he has to go through overpasses that have tumah. Which one is supposed to do? That was yesterday's question. Anyways, so let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Well, maybe we have some kind of an answer. Kadem sheyaschal livda kadei sheya brocho v'lasiyasan yivorach v'yesham shetov sheyito b'yadav kaidem v'urak v'shum nekiyas. Al bir chometz v'af agav de'enu mevarad mochor. You're not doing bir till tomorrow. Mikol makom kiven the bedika utzach bir. The reason why you make a bedika is to make sure that you're getting rid of your chometz. It's called part of the deal. How we main beer. Vein mevrocha on Bedikas Chometz, they ain't the sof mitzvah. You don't make a brocha on parts. V'gam ein mevrocha al bittul chometz, kivan the ikar bittul toli balev. Vein mevrocha al dover shebalev. Vein berech leva'er yotza. We say that you're going to burn it. That's also yes. Kol zman shelo yisiyim b'dikah. The kol zman shelo yisiyim mikri adayin over la'asiyosai.
He's holding that every minute. is-
1 second. What does that mean? You understand the problem? Oivel Asiyasa means before I did it. So how could it be called Oivel Asiyasa? I'm doing it. I'm in present tense, not pretense. Okay? Vim kvar sima bedika. Lo yivorach achshav, el yivorach mocha b'shas seifa. Why? The mevorach mal bir chometz v'af al pisha bitl esmol b'shas bedika. Mikol mokom chai v'lesarf v'tekal eschon v'oid. The oz amar kol chamira etc. V'yesh v'achorim desfilei toloi niskin brocho kiyim b'shas bedika. V'ladayte yivorach b'shas seifa b'loi shem halachas. V'nir ha'roetz v'oid evi mochichim b'yado. Okay. Now, this is a fascinating question. The Taz makes makes a fascinating assumption. The Taz says, every bolata that I check, I was makayim a mitzvah. I'm still before the next bolata. Every inch. Bolata is not, that's just a made-up word. And he says, based on this, there's a fascinating thought. The halacha is, if I make a brocha on Netilas Lulav, and then someone asks me what time it is, and I tell them what time it is, what do I have to do?
Start again.
Oh, you picked it up?
No, before I picked it up. What do I have to do?
Say another brocho.
Why?
Between brocho and the Maisa.
Okay. So now, if each bolata is a different mitzvah, so if I speak in the middle of Bedikas Chometz,
Shouldn't be in trouble.
you should be in trouble.
Shouldn't be.
Why?
You should be.
Why?
Middle of this is different than...
Hashem Yishmor.
Why should you be in trouble?
Well, did you hear what I said? I said if each bolata is a different mitzvah, if I spoke in between my house in Beit Shemesh and my house in Yerushalayim, do I have to make a new brocha? Why? It's a different mitzvah. That's a chadas.
Ligur in the middle of Megillah, we're not happy with him, but you don't make another bracha. Once you start the Megillah, you make a bracha, and then you start in the Megillah.
I'm going to say the same thing again, and this time, listen, exactly. If every bolata is a separate mitzvah, now what do you bring me right from Megillah?
Every bolata is in...
So when I say it 4 times, I said it. 4 times.
Denying that it's a possibility.
That's how we started off today's shir. Is my achiyah bedika im Yerushalayim, achiyah bedika in Ramat Beit Shemesh, 1 mitzvah or 2 mitzvahs, right? Was I here when this happened? That's how we started off.
Well, let's say that you did talk in between. Do you make another bracha?
What's that? You know what?
Before you get
What's
to
that?
the exception case,
Maybe you should make another bracha. Do you know the answer to that question?
No,
I think no.
You don't know the answer to that question, so the Taz discusses. Hey, that's exactly his question. Maybe you have to make another bracha.
If you're mafsik.
Correct. Even in one room. Because what does this bolata have to do with that bolata?
Because it's all trying to get to tomorrow.
Then it's all one mitzvah.
Yes.
But that's what I said.
So you can't talk till the next day when you burn.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say.
Oh,
So they can't go till tomorrow.
Okay. Good idea. Okay. Now I'll answer that question. That's not a good question. That's not a good question. That's not a good question. I'll tell you why that's not a good question. I'll tell you why that's not a good question. The reason why that's not a good question is because there's one mitzvah, an aspect of a mitzvah called Bedikas Chometz. And that brocha that you're making is on all of that aspect. Now, that brocha actually also includes your bedika, your beer for tomorrow. And not only that, everybody's mask if you go to sleep and you daven Shacharis, you did all the things that people would like to do in between Bedikas Chometz at night and beer Chometz tomorrow. Nobody says that you have to make a new brocha, because your brocha was chal on a segment of the mitzvah, a complete segment that was done, and then you have it on standby till tomorrow when you do the beer.
So even after you find the first one, the first piece of bread, you're basically finishing. You're basically done. You've basically done the mitzvah. So therefore, if you talk, you don't have to make the bracha again.
You know what? I would like to ask you a question. You said, call me up after the first piece. You said, Rabbi, I had enough. Was I yaitza? You know what I'm going to say? I had enough of you. That's what I'll say. What do you mean you had enough? There are 9 pieces of chametz in your house. You had enough.
Don't they? You did the first balata.
Good.
Anyways, this is...
What if you're in the middle of Bedikah and you go to my roof? You have to make a bracha then?
Perhaps.
Okay.
Perhaps this is the question. No, we'll answer. If you want, I will. No. That's not what I just said. I'm going to answer the question. There is a concept, and this is a concept in Hilchos Pesach. I don't know I'll get involved at such a basic level, but there's a question Birchas HaTorah, you make once for a whole day. And that's it. Even though you went to do your work, you went to do 1,000 things, you masiach das 1,000 times, and a suuda, if you go and do something else, you have to make a new brocho. Why is this so? So the Rosh answers this question, and he says because when you are free to do as you please, so then your hesach hadas makes a difference. But when you're not free to do as you please, you always have to go back and learn, so then the bracha is still there. How's that for a fascinating thought? Okay? So the question, which is... I'm asking a little to answer the question. We'll take out the rush and we'll see if there's an answer to that question. But the bottom line is the place where there's the big machlokes rishonim is about shchita. If a person does shchita, can he talk? According to the straight halacha, it seems that a person who's a shaychit is not allowed to talk from the time that he starts sechting in the morning until he goes home at night. That's not the practice, though. And the basis of the practice is because the shaychit is usually under contract and he's mechuyev to shecht the whole time. So that's what moves it from one kind of a bracha to another kind of a bracha. This is maybe one day we'll learn Hilchos Shchita. We'll see that. We'll see that. So, anyways, what? That's basically it. I just cheated.
Does that mean that he makes only one bracha, no matter how many
That's correct.
cows he sheds?
That is correct.
Oh, wow. Even if he switches to aluminum?
That's correct.
Whoa.
No, I'll just well.
How to apply this to Tefillin? If a person has to say Hanech Tefillin, he speaks. You say he has to go back and say Hanech Tefillin. He's going to say, I'll make
Because if you hold that you have to have on both brachas on the rush, then you have to say it again.
One would say that case, I think Bachas Lakula.
That's another question. When do you say that? Okay, I'm going to read right now this Taz because this is he's talking with, we're in Bedikas Chometz right now. Venerally, the Tarza Kusha Shel Rashal, the Divrei Arash Maskana, let's go say Vahainu, the Masha Ein Lo Tzarech Po Afilu Shel Tzarech Bedikah. Okay, what did he say? V'Av Shel Tzarech Abdei Kivan She'ein Kam Mishum Hefsek Ela Mitzad Sheyosim Aliboy Livdak Shaper Dai Bazeh Im Nizar Misicha B'Teila Legamri Aval Yeshem De'il Yesh Isser Mitzad Havsaka. When you go and stop, Al Kein Lo Nizka Sham Sicha B'Teila Ela She'ein Livdak Davar Mashma Afilu B'Nili L'Lai Dami L'Sukkah B'Suda Shev Yerosh Raya D'Yochel HaHavsek B'Emtza D'Hasam Boy Messiah Sham V'Lo Yochel Yosef B'Sukkah B'Suda Mash Enki Bedika D'Loi Sagile Kol Shaloi Gomer HaBedika. You're not right. U'Memela Kol Shaloi Gomer Adayin Oisoi Chelek Nikra Haschola Etzloi. And the new balata, it's old, it's hundreds of years old. Okay, on the new balata, he's before. The imlay birich tchila, mivarach adayim be'esahi. What did we say? That I'm allowed to make a brocha if I'm in the middle of bedika. What did the Rama say? Why am I allowed to do that? Is it because I'm in the middle, or because I'm before the next balata? That's not what he says. That's not what the Rama says. That's your reading. He doesn't say why. That's why I asked this question. So I still have. We didn't discuss. So the Taz suggests the reason why you're allowed to make a bracha is because for blata number 6, it's overlas yasam. Doesn't mean that the bracha is going back on blatas 1 through 5, but you're still allowed to make a bracha. V'avapi shel inyan in tzach ein tzach lachzor levarach. Parrots' question. So why is it that if you spoke b'diavad, you don't have to make a new bracha? Kivan shakvar hischil be'inyan, that's enough. That it's good enough. Now, I would like to share with you, since it's Erev Pesach, I would like to share with you where this concept exists and tzorach iyun. Okay? According to many Rishonim, there are two places which exist. We'll start with the Pesach one. A person makes a bracha. The less complicated one. A person makes a bracha on Tkiyah Shofar. He's Yotzei Tkiyah Shofar with the Tkiyas which are done in Shemona Esrei. Okay, that's all the Rabbanan stuff. All that stuff before the Tkiyas the Miyushiv. He went to the bathroom. Someone asked him a question, and he answers the question. Does he have to make a new bracha before he's Yotzei the Tkiyas? You know what I'm going to say. Whatever you say, I say the opposite, right? Right? So, this is a Tosfos in Arvei Pesachim. Well, it has to be a Pesachim here. Here we go. See if we can fit in with the short.
Thank you, Brad. You look down the first 30 colors.
That's right. That's we'll see. We'll see that.
A lot of people just come to filter that.
If you have a mind, then you can. Okay. Here it's talking about a person who doesn't have Carpas, so uses Maror for Carpas. And he ate Carpas, and what is he eat? So he ate Carpas, Maror, and then he eats Maror. So is he ate some Maror or not? So this Taisa says, on first Carpas he makes a brocho al achilas Maror. Ve'af agav the ikar mitzvahs Maror loy nofik. Ela betibul sheni achar matzah. So you made a bracha al achilas Maror on Carpas. You say this over by the Seder. People think you're drunk. Okay, you make a bracha al achilas Maror on Carpas, and when are you makayim Maror in the regular place?
You didn't need big size.
That's what you say. Listen to what he says. Who says you don't need a kazayas for Carpas? Mishnah Berurah says you have to eat a kazayas. Take a look. Big machlokes. Ela b'tibul sheni achar matzah. Mo'elas brocha shebirch b'tibul rishon b'tibul sheni. According to Yaakov, you make a brocha al achilas Maror if you're not yotzei. He says you make a bracha al achilas Maror. Brocha sheb'tibul rishon b'tibul sheni me'achar she'achol mimenu ba'at b'tibul rishon miri dehavi abirchas ha'sheicher shofar the mevarach atkiyas the yeshiva umoyelas brocha letkiyas the shebamida shem ikar v'nasas ala seder brochas. That's the ikar one. V'hashta kol v'chulu. B'kitzer, you can make a brocha and have it not happen until it happens, and you could talk. You could talk, right? Over here, you're talking. Yeah. Magid, you could speak about it. There's no halacha that you can't say anything during Magid, right? You have to be Yeshiv Kamelech, all those, but there's no halacha. There's no halacha. So the answer to the question is that once there is, what the interesting Tosfos at least, right? The answer is that as long as you have some kind of kiyum in this field, even though it's not the kiyum that you're having, you're not mechuyev to go back and make another bracha, unless you'll have some kind of hesach hadas or something else. But this is
sort of again.
This is like And just to be a Polish Shayit, I'm going to share with you a Ramah in Hilchos Tzitzis, which my Rebbe Yechidah would say, anybody who can explain this to me, I'll give them $1. But with inflation, that's anybody who can explain this to me, I'll give them $20. Okay? The halacha is that when a person takes off his tzitzis and he puts them back on, we Ashkenazim hold that you don't have to make another brocho unless you had in mind to take them off or whatever. The Mechaber holds not like that. You took them off, it's gone. The Ramah, who says that it helps, you take off your talis gadol, it helps, even though you put your talis gadol back on. Why? Because you're wearing a talis cotton. This makes absolutely no sense. Because you have to make a separate brocho on your talis cotton and a separate brocho on your talis gadol. And because I took off my talis gadol, because I'm being makayim the mitzvah with my talis cotton, so that somehow retains the bracha of lisatef batzitzis for me to put back my talis gadol. There's a reason why we're here, right? So here you see this kind of an idea that their brachas have a fluidness that many people are not aware of. This is, I think, a new Dalet Amos. Anyways, but let's get back to the Mishnah Berurah.
Between tzitzis to tzitzis, he wants to wear 4 pairs of tzitzis. Is he allowed to make another bracha between each one? Or he should?
When is he putting them on?
I'm not sure. He had 100. If he wants to make
No, that's a bracha she'nit tzricha.
But each one is its own chiyuv.
It's a bracha she'nit tzricha.
He had in mind when he
A bracha she'nit tzricha. I and you do not make a bracha on your tzitzis in the morning. Once a week I make a bracha on my tzitzis in the morning. Only once a week. Shabbos. That's it. I wake up and I go to shul to daven. Usually. Not 2 days ago I woke up at 4:30, but normally I go to shul to daven. I don't make a bracha on my tzitzis, I make a bracha on my talis and I have them on my tzitzis because it's called the bracha she'enit tzricha. Shabbos, I'm up for quite a long time before I go to shul, so I make a bracha. But if I'm putting on one after the other, it's a brocho she'enit tzricha.
It's not like balata to balata.
No one said balata to balata you should make different brachas. On the contrary, we say that you make only one bracha. Even though it's separate mitzvahs, you make one bracha.
You have to do the mitzvahs on the beggar on the gavra.
The mitzvah is on your kiyuv.
The bracha is on me wearing tarakams, or bracha on me of the beggar.
Me wearing. It's not a chovas man, that's a chovas gavra.
So it's got Bedikas Chometz.
It's also a chovas gavra. There's no chiva. If the person would die, the house is good to go.
What's the answer with the 2 houses?
Oh. So, beforehand, the Taz, which we just saw inside this unbelievable Taz says that every balata is a separate mitzvah. So, Kol Shekain, every house is a separate mitzvah. We're going to get to the Mishnah Berurah is going to speak about 2 houses. I thought we were going to get there today. I don't know why it would take so long to say anything over here. But anyways, all right. V'Zar says over here, the Mechaber, Shelo yedaber ben brocho l'tchilas habedika. And also, now, why should that be the case? Why should it be that we shouldn't be able to speak? So, if according to this fantastic chiddush of the Taz, we understand. But if you don't know the Taz, why is it different than your regular Suda? It doesn't say you're not allowed to talk during the Suda. Talk?
Yeah. In the middle of the Megillah, you give a clap, you're like, oh, by the way, anybody want coffee? It's outside.
I don't know. I know there's a halacha you're not allowed to do that. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, but there's no such halacha as it says over here. Let's see. V'toiv lizar debazei tzorch lachzol levarach kivan shekvar hitzvil mitzvah. But the one shein tzorch bedika gam lechatchila yochel ledaber shezeh ein choshev hefsek klal. But if you're stopping and doing something else, you should not. One should not do that. Okay. Next. Bebracha achas yochel livda kama botim. With one bracha, not only that, I can do my house and your house with one bracha. It doesn't have to be with one chiyuv. I'm doing a mitzvah Bedikas Chometz. You asked me to do your house. I can make one bracha and do many houses. What are we going to see? Im balabais roitze, yamen bibnei beisa etzlo b'shashu bevarech. V'yispazo livdoik ish b'mkoimoi. The balabas makes a brocha, and everybody, and I do this in my house, each one of my kids get a different room that they are obligated to search. Al smach brocha shebirech balabayis. One brocha, many bedikas. V'noagim l'haniach p'titei chometz v'makam sheyimtzeh maboidek. This is like the most important halacha in all of Shas. You put out the 10 pieces. Kedei shlei brocha brachasei levatala. Miyam le'asa la'ikev. Dadas kol adam im habrocha levayir im nimtza. So this is really a horrendous piece. What's the purpose of the minig?
Keep the kids interested.
That's the next night. That's the next night. Okay. So what does he say? Kadei shalei yeh brachos levatala, and then he says it's not levatala anyways. Okay.
Especially if it's going on a beer the next morning.
This is true. This is true, but that's not even what he says. I would like to tell you. I would like to answer your question. This is, I guess, we're doing a lot of Hilchos Brachos here tonight. Can I say a bracha al beer chometz the night before if I'm not doing beer? You can only make a bracha when you're doing something. So it has to be that the bracha is being chal on something that I'm doing now. It's not enough that tomorrow I'm making beer chometz.
Right.
I have to be doing something. Right. Okay. And he doesn't say, just to drive home the point, he doesn't say it's not a brocho batola because anyways you're doing beer tomorrow.
Right.
He doesn't say that.
That's true.
What?
That's then if I find something.
If you find something, you lost the thread.
Okay.
Why do we put out the 10 pieces? Because it's called the brocho batola if you didn't find anything. Because no, that's not what it says.
That's what I said. That's not what it is.
Das kol adam im habrocha levar im yimtza. When's he gonna levar? Now.
Tomorrow. But what do I having the bracha on? The yimtza. The bracha has to be on the yimtza.
He means that's what.
The im yimtza, right?
It doesn't sound like he has to find.
Yeah.
Correct.
If I find them.
But then he said if he's not going to do beer, he doesn't make the bracha, right?
Correct.
But he doesn't have to find anything to do beer on. So we have.
That's correct. But if I find, I will do beer on it. So therefore, looking for it is called I did an act of a bracha. It qualifies the action that I'm doing. I am doing an act at the beginning of beer chometz by searching for something that if I find it, I will burn it.
Does it say in the halacha that the pieces have to be hidden? I remember once.
Has to be what?
The pieces have to be hidden around the house. Does it say that? I remember once I was.
I don't know what the word hidden means.
Put in concealed places around the house.
There are some children who think that they're going to outsmart their parents, so they put it in places where you're not mechuyev to check for chametz, right? That's not the point, right? I don't know what the word hidden means. It's supposed to be there that you find it, right? If they left it.
I remember once, many years ago, I was at a shia in an elderly couple's house. Me and a few other people participating in the Magid shia told the elderly couple that could hardly move, you just put the 10 pieces out on the sideboard, put a line on the
That's
sideboard.
also good enough.
Yeah.
You might, because he has to remove them and burn them, right?
Right.
So he was Makayim.
I always thought he was trying to be that.
Well, we would like that somebody looks for it. Okay.